Hi, what's up, buddy?
Not much. Are you ready? You feel better this day?
Yeah, dude.
All right. Where do you want to start? Actually, I only know a tiny bit of your story from your brother. I mean, and you even mentioned something the other day I didn't know. So where did it start for you here?
Um, let's see. 2005, I was arrested for fraudulent check charges or whatever. Um, I don't know, dude. Ever since, well, let's say, really, it started really bad in 2010 when I caught a gun charge, and it was crazy.
Okay, okay,
And
and then on the gun
ever
charge,
since,
what do you mean on the gun
yeah.
charge? What happened?
I was in a vehicle with somebody. Somebody had came to my house. He was a known meth dealer,
Yep.
but he had came to my house. Literally, I went. I'm telling you the truth, man. I was just giving me a ride to Winn-Dixie because we live off a harbor, and my
Right.
mom didn't have a vehicle then. So anyway, so I get in the car, and when he pulled up, dude, I seen a cop drive by, like on the far street. You know what I'm saying? I live on a cul-de-sac, so the street to get to my street, I saw the cop drive by. Well, anyhow, we get in the car, and we go to Higgs, which hits Harbor. The cop's behind us. He hits his lights. Then all of a sudden, the driver, he starts going fidgeting around. He had a 32 Taurus in his lap. He went to go
Oh,
put it in the glove. Yeah, he went to go put it in the glove box. Anyhow, there was another gun in the vehicle, a pink 32 Taurus. It was crazy. Dan's hand got stuck. He eventually pulled over, but his hand got stuck with his hand in the glove box in like a back drop compartment. You know what I mean?
right.
And so the cop's like, "Oh, get your hand out of the glove box. Get out of the car. Get out of the car." Well, I automatically light a cigarette and get on the phone with my attorney because I know what's fixing to go down. You know. Well,
Right.
first I call my boyfriend, and then so we get out of the car. The cop, they bring the canine. The cop or the dog walks around the car. He doesn't, just get anything. Next thing I know, they say, "Mr. Miller, can we search your car?" And he said no. And then they go to place him under arrest. Dan takes off running. I just throw my hands up, and I'm standing there with all these cops. Like, there was like 15 cop cars, on Harbor, all for two people. So anyway,
Wow.
so we drive, and I'm on the phone with my attorney telling him what's going on, and I'm like pacing back and forth because I'm freaking out. The cop told me to sit still, told me to get off the phone. I wasn't allowed to be on the phone. No, I'm not under arrest or anything yet. Next thing I know, this fucking like 6'7" corporal comes up and just slams me on the ground, man.
Wow.
You should see my mugshot. Dude, I got a black eye, my whole face it's like all just the red, almost literally blue, where you can see the bruise is gonna start.
Right.
But ever since then, they sit. We have empty lots on our street.
Yep.
One's right across from my house. They sit in there. I went for a walk one time. They followed me all the way around my neighborhood, about, I don't know, maybe 40 feet back, with the spotlight on me the whole time.
Wow.
Okay, listen to this. No, I just got home from prison. They sent me to prison because I beat up two people in my own house. I caught them breaking in my garage at like 5 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning. And so
Right.
I beat the shit out of a dude and a girl. Next thing I know, Monday morning, I go to open my front door. It's like 9:30 in the morning. 4 cops dip around from the side of my house and throw me down, and I'm under arrest for aggravated assault. I went to prison for 15 months for that, beating up 2 people in my own house, man.
Wow.
Okay, but this is the one I'm fighting now. Okay, so Brian, I've had some problems with drugs, but I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? But
Right.
I'm not some punk person on the street. I don't run a trap house. This is my mother's house. You know what I mean?
Right.
None of that bullshit. I don't walk around flipping the cops. I'm not a thief. I'm not into criminal mischief. Nothing crazy like that. All right?
Right.
Okay, so I get out of prison in December 2015. I get a job at Subway. The area manager, she starts lying on me. I had like 80 hours overtime. Next thing I know, they've got me down 2 days a week. I said, fuck this. So I went back to, my mom's on disability, and I have a 13-year-old son. And then they called narcotics, the sergeant of narcotics. I told him to go fuck himself. Excuse my language, but nope.
What
So,
what does what does work it off mean?
Snitch, they wanted Brad. I see 2 guys standing in my driveway. And I was like, what the hell is this? So I walk out. Next thing I know, it's a SWAT team. They raided my house.
Wow.
They arrested me for possession of a Vicodin, which I have a prescription for, and an old baggie I didn't even know I had. And the only reason why they gave me a bond is because the judge who signed that search warrant was supposed to see thousands of dollars in money, ounces of dope, just ridiculous shit. They didn't find anything. That's the only reason why the judge gave me a bond the second time.
Right.
But right now, we have to prove. What happened is that girl called the cops, called Musgrove, and said, hey, Sarah Hawkhead's going to be up here at the promenade with a bunch of drugs. Next thing I know, they ran up on me. They can't do that. And then they changed their story 3 times about who saw me driving, why I even got pulled over.
Wow.
They've pulled my brother over one morning leaving my mom's house, harassed him, more and Tuck. I've been followed. The shit they've done. One time I had a pizza guy come up and bring a pizza.
Right.
And, you know, I had to turn around and sign the receipt. Well, I turned around and I put it on the front door so I could sign it. Next thing I know, this cop that was sitting in the lot, I had no idea was there, threw his big light on my front of my house.
Right.
They would drive by. They'll drive by real late at night. Like I can't hear their tires on the street with all the lights off, and they'll sit in front of my house. I've caught them walking around my house. I've got a psycho neighbor. She had like 7 cameras on my house at one time. He called the cops every day. Yeah, and I'm not some punk. I don't get. You know what I mean? I'm not. I've never done anything to this woman. She's just fucking insane.
Right.
My brother can tell you about her. One time I caught her husband walking around my house at like 3:30 in the morning.
Right. Possibly the good thing with the cameras that's pointed at the house, does she ever possibly record stuff that you could use against the cops, like stalking her house?
No, no. Because now she put some big old fish tailed palm trees between our houses now, and they're huge. Cameras can't see my house anymore.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, the harassment started after, you know what I mean?
Right.
It was bad. And then Musgrove, the narcotics guy, you couldn't even, one night we were sitting out here smoking a cigarette, me and my buddy Dave, all of a sudden 4 fucking units come, and I live on a cul-de-sac, Brian.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're driving by my house, they get out of the car, and it's just crazy. And then one cop accused me we had to call him because somebody left his car at my house and I didn't want it here anymore.
Right.
Well, I had to call the Charlotte County Police and give the tow truck company the clearance to come take this car. Well, the car was clean, all that crap. But the last thing the cop said to me right before he left was, next time, just tell your homeboy he needs to pay you, and you don't have to call us out here for a drug. Some stupid. What?
Wow. So, and then how long ago was this?
This was just last July.
Oh, wow.
I'm still going to court for it. Yeah, they're trying to throw me back in prison for that. But it's illegal how they got me. You know what I mean? Why, if the cop saw me driving, why didn't he pull me over right there? Why did he let me get out of my car, go into a store, go into another vehicle, go into another store from there? You know what I mean? That's crazy. And then they tell me it's a routine traffic stop. You know, every time I see these police, I get so nervous and scared. And I'm clean off of drugs. I work full time at Applebee's. Like, I've cleaned up my act. And they still, like, a couple of cops were investigating some in Applebee's.
Right.
They told my manager, because he knew me from, like, multiple arrests.
Right.
You know, they told my manager everything. They're like, oh, you got Hawkhead working here, huh? What?
Wow. So now they're going to try to ruin your job.
Well, they didn't, because Rob knew I had a history. Like, he knows that I'm going to court, but I just thought it was really unprofessional for him to sit there and say, like, all the things that he told my manager, because that's not me anymore.
Right.
You know, my boss didn't care. He just thought, you know, he shouldn't be sitting there telling me your criminal history.
Oh, no, I totally agree with you. It does sound like this. They're literally trying to, you know, stalk you, ruin your life, ruin your job.
They have ruined my life. They have. I cannot do anything. I've been arrested almost 20 times.
Wow. So you're basically on a hit list in a weird way?
I am on a hit list. Those cops know about me. I can't even walk now. Like, I can't even walk down the street without them. They'll pull me over. Even if, you know what I'm saying, I walk on the dog, they'll pull me over, they'll stop, they'll try to search me, they'll call back up. Just unnecessary shit. Unnecessary stuff. Totally. If I'm fishing in the lot, they will try to creep up on me and see what, like, I'm illegal doing. You know what I mean? I'm fishing, dude. While I'm sitting here waiting for my drop-off. You know, get out of here.
Wow. Well, as you know, I help out with Charlotte County COPWATCH, and it happened, you know, to me, not with the drugs or anything, but yeah, Ken Hill, Charlotte County Sheriff, did total perjury in court, and I told Bill PRUMMELL, I told Internal Investigations, they didn't care. Then I did FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, just to see how many people knew about it there. And then, in fact, my wife's best friend is married to a sheriff. He knew about everything, and he said he couldn't do anything. So I totally agree with you. It is corrupt to the core. It's just really sick. I think I mentioned to you, too, I have 17 cameras on my house because it used to be because of the bad neighbor, but now it's just to watch out for them. Because I actually question, just like you're questioning, and you're making a statement today that, you know, the corruption and the stalking, the harassment is off the chart. They drove by my house 240 times in 1 year, and they don't live here in the neighborhood. It's all on video. It's all on YouTube. 240 times. Did you know Howie that, I don't know if you knew him or not, he was a guy for television doing interviews. I knew him. I interviewed him one time. Well, he interviewed me for something one time. He told me when he busted the sheriff for that helicopter that they were doing bad papers on or something, Sarah, they got him fired, and then they did the same thing to him. They stalked him so many times, he had to call the sheriff on them to tell him to quit stalking him.
Yeah, they would. The weirdest thing is when I went for the walk down my street, and next thing I know, there's this cop following me like 40 feet behind me with his Q-beam on the whole time. And I call the watch commander of the Charlotte County Sheriff's, and he tells me, you're suspected of selling drugs. I said, are you serious? And it was just because of the psycho neighbor next door called them every day, and told them, you know, and I was not running. I don't run a crack house, a drug house. I do not. But oh my God, it was horrible. Ever since that gun charge in 2011, I've had harassment. And it's so bad that when a cop comes around, I start freaking out. Like it's not that I'm scared. It's just, I'm tired of going to jail, dude, for dumb shit. Right. You know what I mean? Dumb stuff.
Well, you mentioned something the other day in a conversation that is weird that you mentioned it, because I've been telling the other COPWATCH groups about it. Because I agree with you, I am kind of the same way. My wife will tell you that should we start a group for PTSD for people that have dealt with these corrupt cops? And then, like, I'm sure you have stories too. I'm sure you got PTSD just from going to the jail. I've heard horror stories.
I really do. Because I had to go to, when you get a drug charge, they make you in Charlotte County, they make you do these drug classes. I swear to God, I could teach them myself because I've had to go to so many. Anyhow, the head guy there, Dave Thomas, he diagnosed me with post-traumatic stress syndrome. Wow. Because every time they come around, bad things happen. You know, I have a 13-year-old son that his dad's got custody of because they just nonstop. You know what I mean? Right. And then he threatened to pull my bond this time. The sergeant of task force. Right. He threatened to pull my bond if I didn't go snitch on somebody.
Okay, and Sarah, that's another subject I want to talk to you about. You're not the only one. I'm sure you've heard from your brother. I've been doing this for about 3 years now, and 24 million views on the big YouTube channel. It's actually just hit 25,000 subscribers. It's big. And I have heard stories, Sarah. You are not the only one that they're literally threatening people to go into dangerous situations, to be a snitch, where they could possibly be killed. Because I don't know if you've heard this, Sarah. Have you heard this? Your Charlotte County Sheriff Bill PRUMMELL is bragging about doing bust where he gets just enough of a bust where he can start doing seizures and forfeitures. As you know, they will take all your money, they'll take your house, they'll take your car. That is unconstitutional. Sarah, I've been in the debates. Well, not in the debates.
I know they've taken a couple of my friend Jessica's car.
Yeah, there you go.
Because she got busted with somebody. She was just driving this kid around like it was her boyfriend.
Right.
Not even. They just started dating, and she really didn't know of what this kid was about. Next thing she knows, they get pulled over, and her brand new Cadillac is seized.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know that girl that just got sentenced to 54 years?
Oh, my
Kimberly
God.
Sedgwick?
No, I do not.
Yeah, it's one of my best friends. She was sentenced to 54 years because somebody had caught somebody with an illegal prescription. Anyhow, my point is that they gave this girl 54 years. They don't have one pill in evidence, one handwritten prescription that they're saying Kim wrote. They don't have any of that. All they went on is 8 junkies' statements. And the junkies told the detectives at the time, yes, I've got a needle in my arm. Yes, I'm under the influence of drugs. 8 statements sent her away for 54 years while everybody else got under 10.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I just wrote her a letter. You should look up her case. Her attorney, her boyfriend just paid like $50,000 to the appeal attorney.
Right.
Yeah, it's really serious. Kimmy's gone for a long time. Her release date actually is October 5th, 2068.
So they're basically sending somebody to prison for 54 years. The person didn't kill anybody.
Nope.
No victim,
on
no
hearsay.
crime. No, yeah,
on
exactly.
Hearsay.
Yeah, and no victim, no crime. And so that's basically more time that for drugs they don't even have than you'd get for killing somebody. Basically.
Yeah, you can kill your 3-month or your 2-month-old child, like those people in
Northport, right?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
The mom, I think, got 25 years.
Wow.
You're telling me that you can kill your own child, get 25 years, but they don't have a shred of evidence on Kimberly, and they gave her 54.
That is outrageous. I don't know if you've heard the stats lately, Sarah. Is that basically, you know, America's supposed to be free, but as you know, it is not free. We have the most people in jail and prison than the whole freaking rest of the world.
Oh, yeah.
They are literally making it an industry, which is just absolutely sick.
And Charlotte County is twisted. Charlotte County is twisted, my friend.
Oh, I've heard stories that we have so many cops and sheriffs here that we have more than like San Francisco does or something like that. It's really the number is whacked out. As you know, it's like a small army. It's not that bad here. I do not understand it. I don't get it. I do think, and I think you just verified it. I think they're going ballistic on forfeiture and seizure. How many other people have you heard that have got all their crap taken?
I'm sorry?
How many other people have you heard that got all their crap taken, forfeiture and seizure?
I know about 3 people.
Yeah, I don't think people in Charlotte County realize that this twisted unconstitutional law is turning them into criminals. You know what I mean? To take your stuff. Yeah,
it should not be allowed, but I don't know. They're ridiculous, and they're just money hungry. That's all they want is money, and then you get these attorneys that are supposed to stick up for you, and they're so overbooked, and they don't care one shred about you. You know what I mean? And then when the police say this, he told me that I need to work for him, and then I need to move out of the county. Where am I supposed to go? I have my mother. She can't move. This is her house. She worked her entire life after my father left her to buy this house.
Right.
And you want me to snitch, do your job for you.
Yes.
And then get up and move.
That's right.
That's what he told me.
That's
he doesn't give a shit what happens if I could get hurt or there's some kind of retaliation on my family.
Exactly.
They don't give a shit. Trust me.
They do not. And then, like I said, the main thing that they're looking for is, possible forfeiture and seizures out of it. Did you know it is so bad that Rick Scott actually did a good thing? He actually just signed a bill where they're finally clamping down on this forfeiture seizure crap, because it's turning our cops and sheriffs here in town into criminals. Period. They're taking your stuff even before you're even charged. It's completely insane.
Yeah, I know, it's fucked.
So unfortunately, you're not the only story. I believe we did talk before this. So you did say that you do want your story out there so other people know how bad it is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because it is bad. Are you going to rewrite it or?
No, and that's what I was going to ask you. Is like I was mentioning before, this is being recorded right now. Is it fine to go out like this, or you don't want it to go out like this?
Yeah, I guess I'm not that too bad. I do apologize for cussing, but when I start talking about the things that have happened, I get angry and lose it.
No, and it's not on.
Because they ruined my life. Ruined.
No, I agree. I mean, my wife will tell you too that since this has happened to us, my life has changed. I mean, it happened to me. I couldn't believe it. The sheriff and internal investigations would do nothing, and then I got involved with COPWATCH, and my eyes were opened on how bad the corruption is nationwide.
Yeah, I had no problem airing this.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, and unfortunately, you're not the only one. But it's good to do what you're doing, because as you know, Sarah, if nobody says anything, nothing changes. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know what you're telling about the harassment, the forfeitures, the seizures, threatening you to narc, like you said, you could be killed, to do what they're asking you to do. That is insane.
Yeah, but they don't care.
No, not at all. Just a quick number to throw out there too. Did you hear what their budget is? They're so out of control. Their budget for the sheriff, $62 million a year. And the other way that they're ripping you off, Sarah, is in taxes, because they gotta pay for their pay, benefits, retirement, which is out of control. Do you know what the percentages of that budget is for pay and retirement?
Huh. 0?
No, 85%. 85%.
What?
They are so, they keep always telling everybody, oh, we're so poor, we don't make a lot of money.
Yeah, right.
That is total BS, man.
I can tell you that's BS.
Yes.
The money they've taken from me alone, my mother has spent on attorneys. My mother has probably handed Stephen Leskovich almost $50,000 in the past 7 years to try to keep me out of trouble.
Right.
You should see. I should send you a copy of the front head newspaper clipping that I was in.
Yes, I would like that. Absolutely.
How embarrassing was that for my brother and my family? You know what I mean?
Well, as you know, on the Charlotte County Facebook page, Charlotte County, on the sheriff's Facebook page, they crucify people all the time. But yet, when it's one of their own, that person doesn't even get posted there. We don't have their address there like they do to other people here.
No, it's all hush.
Oh, big time. And Sarah, did you know this too? Those, especially that one cop that planted drugs on that guy just to bust him so he could date his girlfriend. That's just so twisted. It's not even funny. Did you know they are not contacting the people that corrupt cop busted, because those people have the right to fight their case and get it thrown out now because it's a dirty cop?
Yeah.
So they're not even, so they're so greedy they don't want to rock the boat, their own boat, because like you said, they're getting so much money with lawyer fees, jail fees, court fees. It's crazy, man.
It's a waste. It's a waste.
Oh, it's
and
bad.
then when they came and raided the house, how many guys were here when they raided the house? Maybe 16, maybe 18 tops.
Wow.
And then one guy almost knocked my mother over, and she's completely bent over because she's 5'7", and now she stands 4 something.
Right.
Because she's bent over because her back is messed up. Well, she was walking out the door, and this guy was making her come out of the house. My mom said, "Let me see the warrant. Let me see the warrant."
Right.
And they didn't have the warrant for an hour after they got here and had us out. Would you like to talk to my mom?
Wow.
Would you like to talk to my mom, Brian? Because she could tell you some stuff as a point of view of her seeing this harassing and what it's done to the family.
That's up to you and her.
She's right here.
That's up to you and her if she wants to do it.
Yeah, you want to talk to her because she's right here. She would love to tell you because she's sick of it too.
Yep, that's fine if she wants to.
Okay, hold on, Brian.
All right.
His name is Brian. She's Eddie. Hi.
How are you?
Oh, okay.
Good. So she was telling me that you and the whole family have basically been harassed by the Charlotte County Sheriff's Center for a while now.
Well, nobody really bothers me. I mean, you know, we were here in the house when it was raided.
What about the harassment with the cops coming back and forth in the house?
Yeah, I mean, you know, my grandson was here and Adam was here and Sarah the day they raided the house. I mean, that was just ridiculous.
Right. So that was unneeded, basically, with the force that they showed.
Yeah, and you know, I kept saying, "Where's your warrant?" And it was an hour and a half at least before the actual warrant showed up.
Yeah, that's not normal. I agree. That's not normal at all. And by the way, was that a no-knock raid, or they did knock?
I didn't hear anybody knock on the door. Of course, I was back in my room.
Right.
And I was getting ready to come outside and have a cigarette. I was coming down the hallway, but by that time, Sarah was outside, and they were out here, and, oh, you need to come out of the house, you need to come out of the house. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Right.
And I was standing on my front porch. My front door opens outward.
Right.
And the door swings from right to left.
Yep.
So I was on the opposite side of the door, and this one guy came out of the house. He almost knocked me over with the door. If the other cop hadn't been, he would have knocked me completely over. I mean, that would not have been good. But a nice lawsuit there, because my balance is really bad, because I've had 16 surgeries, and 15 of them have been orthopedic.
Right.
My balance is bad, and if Musgrove hadn't been there to catch me, I'd have hit the deck.
Wow. So Musgrove actually did one good thing.
Yeah.
Because I keep hearing his name all the time in a lot of situations that were not good.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I don't know if she mentioned that to you. You know, the corruption happened to me here too. That's why I help out with Charlotte County COPWATCH, and you know, because I know, and you know, I don't know if you agree with it or not, but you know, we do need cops, but we don't need corrupt cops, and we don't need the non-stop harassment. Really bad.
Correct. Oh yeah.
I
agree.
And because I was mentioning to Sarah too, you know, even with the corruption I experienced, Sheriff PRUMMELL knows about it, Internal Investigation knows about it. They did nothing about it. And then you guys are not the only ones that they stalked. They stalked. I got 17 cameras on my house. They stalked my house 1 year. They drove by 240 times. It's all on YouTube. It's all on video.
Wow.
Oh, it's really. I've heard from many people that the threats, the harassment is really bad.
Oh, I can't begin to tell you the number of times that I would leave here and they'd be sitting at the end of the street or sitting down on Higgs.
Right.
Sitting down by the park, you know, where they could see anybody that was coming and leaving our street.
Right.
Or they'd just, you know, come up here, drive, look at the house, turn around, because we live at the end of the cul-de-sac.
Right.
Yeah, or they'd park somewhere on the street, you know.
Wow. Unreal. And
I told Sarah at one point if I had a long wig and put on a baseball cap and drove my car, they'd probably pull me over thinking it was her.
Wow. That is bad. And like I said, it happened to me. I've heard multiple stories in the past 3 years. I don't know if she's pointed out the YouTube channel to you, but I mean, there's another lady in Charlotte County that just gave her testimony too on how bad it was for her here too, how they abused her kid, and they wouldn't even let her file a complaint against that sheriff that abused her kid. They were literally threatening her, so it's really, really scary, man.
Yeah. Well, and of course, you know, Jeff's story with that.
Oh my
road rage.
God.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they love the name Hawkshead, I'm telling you.
That's what I heard, and like you said, that is a whole nother story, and I'm sure you'd agree that's another cover-up. They tried to charge your son, and it was an off-duty Miami cop that was the one that went ballistic.
Yeah. Yeah, and they took it to the state's attorney, trying to get them to charge him, and they're like, with what? He didn't do anything.
Well,
you got less than 24 hours to return his weapon to him, and if you don't, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Right, and I don't know if you agree or not. I think it was a cover-up because it was a whack job Miami cop that went ballistic.
Absolutely.
Isn't that sad? It's so corrupt here that I was the one that I thought gave him the right lawyer that would look into this, and he, and I say, is so scared he won't touch it.
Yeah.
That is sad.
It's pretty pathetic when they're afraid to
do anything.
Go up against them. Yeah.
Sarah was mentioning, and I'm sure you'd agree because she was talking about the numbers, it's almost like a racket here with the sheriffs, charges, jails, courts, and lawyers. You agree? Oh,
definitely. And, what I really see is that it's pathetic for anybody that gets on probation because it just sets you up to fail.
I have heard many stories about that, too. I've heard once you're in the system here, you are screwed pretty much, right?
I worked for the Department of Corrections. I don't know if Sarah told you, but I was a nursing supervisor at Charlotte Correctional Institution.
Oh,
Not once, but twice.
Right.
I did 2 stints, and I'll tell you what I saw that went on down there. Listen, I reported officers. There was a couple of times down there, if any inmate had attacked me, nobody would have lifted a finger to help me.
Right.
Because I reported officers when I saw them doing stuff that I knew was wrong. Well, you know what, pal? My nursing license is worth a hell of a lot more than that damn certification that they get as a correctional officer from the state.
Right.
And when I saw that they were doing stuff that they weren't supposed to be doing and beating up on inmates, and they were crossing the line, I reported it.
Right.
And there were times when not one of those goddamn officers down there would lift a finger to help me or speak to me or anything else. And I didn't give a damn.
Wow.
Because I was right and they were wrong, and I knew which officers I could count on, and that's the way it was.
Right.
And I reigned supreme. I never got into any trouble down there. I never had a disciplinary report kicked back to me because it was written incorrectly. I'm an educated woman.
Right.
I'm smart.
Right.
And when I wrote something up, when it was written correctly, and nothing ever got kicked back to me. Say, oh, you can't write this up this way, or, this inmate's not going to get this. Anything I wrote, they got disciplined for.
Right. Because
I knew how to write it. I wrote it right the first time, and they got what was coming to them.
Right.
And on more than one occasion, I would grab one of those suckers by the back of the collar and drag him down to the colonel's office myself.
Right.
And the colonel would sit there and go, oh, my God, would you please call an officer to do this? I said, listen, these bastards need to know that just because I don't wear a brown uniform, they need to know that when I give them an order, they need to obey it.
Right.
And soon enough, they knew. When Nurse Hawkshead barked an order, they obeyed it. And I never had any trouble out of those inmates. I had more trouble out of the officers than I did out of the inmates.
Is that the same place where the people have died?
Where what?
Are you talking about the correction facility where a couple people have died
lately?
On
Oil Well Road. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So it is that bad there.
Yeah.
Wow. Like the story with the black, is that the place where the black man was put in the shower and it was too hot?
I didn't hear about that.
All right.
I don't know.
But anyways,
I wouldn't know. Usually there was never enough hot water.
Okay. All right.
I would kind of question that one.
All right. Yeah, that could have been another place. I'm sorry. I deal with
Yeah,
so many
Charlotte Correctional's on Oilwell Road.
Okay.
South Punta Gorda.
All right, and there is a lot of not good things happening there then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's not just there; it's all over the place.
Well, I totally agree, but it is sad here in our little town that it's this bad, and people are trying to say stuff and nothing's happening for the good. You know what I mean?
All right, because they just cover for each other.
So you do believe in the thick blue line of corruption, then?
Pardon me?
So you do believe in the saying about the thick blue line of corruption?
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's what it is too, because I actually my wife's friend was a sheriff, and he knew about all of this stuff that happened to me, and he said he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Really, really sad, man.
Well, I don't know if you remember. This was about 3 years ago. I had a gal and her son that rented the house next door to us.
Right.
And her name is Brandy Lowe.
Okay.
And she had gone into the Punta Gorda Police Department with her son to get something or other straightened out.
Right.
And there was a warrant out for a girl named Brandy Lowe.
Oh, I do remember this. Yes, and she wasn't even the right one.
And they arrested the wrong Brandy Lowe in front of her son, and he's the same age as my grandson, so he's 13 now, so he would have been about 10 or 11.
Right.
And, oh man, did she file a hell of a lawsuit against the Punta Gorda Police Department.
Did she win on that one, have you heard?
Pardon?
Did she win on that?
Oh, you bet she did.
Oh, very good. So, by the way, okay, so...
I mean, I haven't spoken to her, but you know goddamn well that her brother owns Titan Z Plumbing here in town.
Oh, wow.
And, her mother, I guess, came and bailed her out.
Right.
And, said, listen, you've got the wrong person. I mean, it was all over the TV.
Yes, it was.
And, goddamn well those bastards had to pay through the nose to keep that quiet.
Well, that's why I keep asking, too, who is a lawyer for her and et cetera, because that's what me and Sarah are just talking about. It almost feels like there is no good lawyers here. They're all scared of the courts. And the sheriff here,
that would never went to court because they didn't want that going to court.
Oh,
they settled that out of court.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
They had to and put a gag order on it. They didn't want that getting out. They didn't want that going to court. They would have, if that thing had gone to court, that would have been all over the national news and everywhere else. They would have looked more stupid than they already are.
Right.
They settled that out of court.
Wow. Yeah, it is sad. I don't know if you heard, there's even another guy after her that they arrested on a arrest warrant from Sarasota. He told them that it's wrong, and they still arrested him anyways, and then sure enough they find out he was right. It is sad. It's like even when you tell them, they won't even bother to check it because you're just a peon, I guess.
Yeah. Well, years ago, the guy that I dated for 19 years, he'd had a stroke when he was 28 years old. I mean, this guy's got like 2 master's degrees, 3 bachelor's degrees, a landscape architect, but he did have a stroke when he was in the doctoral program, and he has a limp.
Right.
And we had been out. He had a couple of trailers that he rented out. So we had been out one day in his old pickup truck. We went out to Arcadia. We were out buying used furniture to put in these trailers.
Yep.
And then on the way back in, we had gone swimming, and we were just like in shorts and cutoffs. I mean, we were just grungy looking, and hair was wet and whatever. And when Publix used to be up there at Forest Nelson and 41.
Yep.
And then across the street, there was a gas station or something, but Jim had stopped to get gas, and he came out, and I think he'd gotten us something to drink.
Yep.
Well, when he came out of the store, and I was at Publix to get us dinner.
Right.
And he came out of the store, and he had a little bag, and he, of course, is limping back to the car. Well, when he walks, sometimes people think he's drunk.
Right.
He's not. It's just the way he walks with a stroke. This woman thought he was drunk, watching him walk from the store, getting back into his truck, called the police.
Wow.
And they followed him coming back across 41. He had to go to the light at Forest Nelson and 41 and then turn into the parking lot to get back to Publix where I was.
Yep.
And by that time, I was done with my shopping, and I was waiting for him outside the store. Well, I'm like, I see Jim pull up towards the front of the store, and then I see like 3 deputy cars. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Well, he had the 2 bottles of beer, and they were both closed. Well, they had him get out of the car, trying to give him a sobriety test. So I parked my little cart. I put the stuff in the car, and we were put it in the truck, and I walked over, and I said, excuse me, what in the hell are you doing?
Right.
I said, this is my fiance. And I said, you are not by law allowed to administer this field sobriety test.
Right.
This man had a stroke when he was 28 years old. He has residual neurological damage.
Right.
I said, I suggest you go back and check your laws because you're not allowed to administer this test to him.
Right.
And the one cop looked at me, and then I guess some sergeant pulled up, and he went over and he talked to the sergeant, and they're doing this. And
Right.
the guy said, she's right. You can't do this. I said, are those bottles opened? Well, no. And I said, let me tell you something. We've been out in Arcadia buying used furniture for these 2 rental trailers that we have. And then we went swimming, which is why we're wet and grungy. I went into Publix to buy food for dinner. And now we're on our way home, and he just went in to get us a beer. Now, as you can see, they're both not opened. We're going to get in that truck, and we're leaving. And you're going to back off, or I'm going to call my attorney. Do I make myself clear?
Very good. So they laughed?
Well, they left. What the hell do you think they were going to do? I don't fuck with these people.
Who did that to who did that? Charlotte County did or Punta Gorda?
Oh yeah, it was Charlotte County.
Of course.
Charlotte County.
How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, that was back around 90. Let's see. I think I was working at the prison. It must have been about 97, 98, somewhere around there. It was a long time ago.
Because I've heard horror stories. I've heard that different times it's really corrupt with the sheriffs. I mean, different people, different times. So yeah, over the years. But of course, it's still happening right now. I mean, you know, that is one good thing Bill PRUMMELL did. He actually did bust 2 corrupt cops so far, but there's a lot more to go.
Oh, I know.
But anyways,
the thing,
what's that?
you know, you gotta general public. They're like a flock of sheep.
Yes, they
They need to wise up, read the law, and know what their rights are.
Right.
And when they start getting harassed, they need to start saying, hey, you can't do that. That's against the law. My rights are. But see, people don't do that. So they have a responsibility.
Right.
And if they would wise up and start telling these cops, hey, you can't do that. You're violating my rights.
Right.
They back off. But most of them around here are too damn stupid, very frankly.
I agree.
There's a lot of stupid people in Charlotte County.
I agree.
Well, I know the law. And no, you can't search my car. No, you can't search me because you have no probable cause.
That's
right. And you had no probable cause to stop me. So I'm getting in my car and I'm leaving now.
Right.
Goodbye.
I agree. I totally agree with you. People need to have forgot about their rights. It's really sad.
They need to grow a pair, and
Well, what's sad too is, as you know, I mean,
unless they are guilty of something,
right?
A lot of them aren't because they're stupid.
Well, as you know,
I've been in pain management now for like 4 or 5 years because of all these surgeries. I mean, I am in pain all the time.
Right.
I do not travel anywhere with my pain medicine. It stays locked up here in the house.
Right.
And, sometimes I have to drive out to the not Hillsborough, Highlands County, DeSoto County line to get my grandson.
Yep.
I don't take any pain medicine when I have to make that drive.
Right.
Because that's just stupid. You don't do that. I can take something milder and it doesn't really help, but I'm not going to get in the car on that pain medicine. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I'm an RN, for Christ's sake, you know. I know
Right.
better. And I didn't really want to have to start taking those medicines, but when you're in this kind of pain, you've got to do something.
Right.
But you need to be smart when you are in pain management, and you need to be aware of the laws. And, you know, I have a really good physician, and his staff is very good about educating the patients about how you need to take care of your medications and what the laws are and what you need to do, you know, when you're in pain management and safeguarding your meds and this and that and the other thing. You cannot take them out of the original container. You must keep them in the original container. You can't take one out and put it in your pocket.
Wow. It is that ridiculous now?
Well, you know, a lot of it started when the trouble started, when we had all those pill mills going
Right.
on down here. So, you know, you really can't blame the states for that, because
Right.
there's so many problems.
Right.
And in all reality, you can't be carrying those kind of medications around. You should have them in their original container, because if you're caught with them, they don't care if you're 75 years old. If you're carrying around OxyContin in a little pill case,
Right.
it's just too bad. Why would you even need to be carrying around 150 OxyContin tablets? You shouldn't.
Right.
There's no reason to.
Right.
And if you're going on vacation, you put the goddamn bottle in your suitcase or whatever, and you leave it in its original container. And or if you don't want to do that, the pharmacy will be glad to give you an extra bottle with a label on it, so
Right.
that you can keep 150 at home and take 2 out and put them in the other, you know, the other bottle, so you only have to take 2 with you if you're going out for the day.
Right.
The pharmacies will do that. You know, on the consumer end, you've got to be smart. You've got to follow the law. It's not rocket science.
Right.
But the pills are just too dangerous. That's the bottom line.
Right.
It's dangerous shit.
Right.
And they have to be controlled. That's the whole point of the law.
Well, what else is dangerous too? One of the sayings I have lately too is what is really sad is basically everything is illegal and you are not free. I mean, you got to get a permit that's against the law. You got to get there's an ordinance. I mean, it is crazy. I knew a sheriff, and he literally told me, he goes, I can arrest you for anything, because there's so many laws on the book. It's out of control.
Yeah. What really gets me is you want to change your water heater, you got to get a permit.
Oh, no comment. Oh, I agree. As you know, the Charlotte County Code Nazis are out of control.
Yeah, well, I have a serious boyfriend. Buddy of his is a plumber.
Right.
My water heater developed a leak. He came over here at 4 o'clock one afternoon, looked at my water heater, came here in an unmarked van.
Right.
Went back to his warehouse, came back at 6 in the unmarked van, took out the old water heater.
Right.
Put it in the unmarked van, put in the new water heater, took the old water heater with him, bada bing, bada boom, done.
Right.
But see, then you got the idiots that will go up to Home Depot, buy a new water heater, put it in, and then put the old one out by the curb.
Yes, they have
Now,
no idea what they're doing. I know.
Duh.
Well, honestly, too, you know why they do that? Because a lot of them are from up north, and they have no idea how out of control it is here with the code Nazi crap. They have no idea.
Some of these codes are just, some of them are ridiculous. But I mean,
up
you know,
north.
I can see where they don't want people burning their houses down, because people will try to do things,
right,
and they're not done right. And I can understand that too, because they don't want, people burning down condos and houses. And
right.
I can understand it from a safety standpoint. But I would never try to put a water heater in. I don't know how to do it, and I really couldn't do it physically.
Right.
So there's kind of, you know, there's a good side and a bad side to that ordinance.
So this is what happens. When you give away all your freedom, you have no freedom.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what we're doing. And as you know, I mean, the government are humans, and humans are corrupt. And if you start giving them too much power, it's super corrupt. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. My take on Charlotte County cops are there's too goddamn many of them, and they don't have enough to do.
Oh,
if you would take them up to Chicago
right,
or New York City, they'd be shitting their pants in about 3 minutes.
Right.
Because they wouldn't know what to do. They don't know what real crime is.
Right.
How long did it take them to finally make an arrest? And it was on the news this morning.
That's right.
Finally make an arrest on that kid that got burnt to death.
Yep.
In that Circle K.
That's right.
Down in Akieta in 41.
I've heard rumors.
You think that would have happened in New York? They would have had an arrest made within 24 hours.
I've heard rumor that it is a kid connected to possibly a family that has money, so he can actually get a good lawyer and defend himself. Well, because you know and I know it is so corrupt here. There's a lot of lawyers here that, you know, they say they're working for you, but they really aren't. You know what I mean? They're making plea deals that are mainly on the sheriff and the cop side, the court side, and they're saying, screw you, because we're going to get paid anyways. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, they're going to make their money no matter what.
So, like if that kid is connected to a family that's well-to-do, you know, they could get a lawyer that's not in this area, that's not scared of the, you know, corruption going on here, and, you know, and possibly kill them on technicalities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's what took so long, because we have a cleaning company, and so we know people all over PGI, and they were saying the same thing, that they couldn't believe it happened. Why did it take so long? What's going on? But yeah, you are right. Charlotte County has way too many cops. I do not understand it, other than lately I've been saying, you know, socialist Charlotte County. They're literally trying to take over everything.
I can't tell you how many times I've pulled on. We live right here off of Harbor and Edgewater.
Yep.
And I can't tell you how many times I've driven out to Harbor and 41, and there'll be like 3 of them at a traffic stop. Really?
Yeah.
3 deputies at a traffic stop?
Yep.
Because they have nothing better to do.
Well, and then, like I said, do you know who the biggest employer in Charlotte County is? Charlotte County government.
Sheriff's Department?
The Charlotte County government, which includes the Sheriff's Department, is the biggest employer. So that's what I mean by socialist government here. They're literally trying to take over all jobs. They're also, as you know, too, they're trying to, you know, when you look at what the average pay for an average citizen is like me, they are paying way over and above than what regular people are getting with pay, benefits, and retirement. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And unsustainable. I just told Sarah? Do you know what? I heard Bill PRUMMELL speak in a debate. Do you know what the budget is for the sheriff this year?
No.
$63 million. Guess what percentage is just for pay, benefits, and retirement? 85% of the budget.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
85%. That is that's insane.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. They've blown this thing up so big that they're trying to make a sick type of, you know, business and industry out of it now, which basically you're the slave now. I mean, you know what I mean? It's sad. Yeah. It's sad. It's sick, and that's why I help out with the group that I do.
What's the name of your group?
Charlotte County COPWATCH. So basically what we're doing is, like we're saying, we need cops, but we don't need corrupt cops, and we don't, and constitutionally everything is not supposed to be, illegal. This is nuts. I mean, it literally everything is illegal. It's sad. This is crazy. I mean, all the way, like you said, for the code Nazis to, the cops can almost literally pull you over for anything. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
well, I just had a headlight go out, and I mean, it was driving me crazy until I got it fixed, because I just don't want the hassle. These jerks pulling me over because I'm out at night, and, I'm like, with the headlight that's out. Go screw yourself. I know it's out. I'll get it replaced as soon as I can, I just don't want to be hassled.
Right.
And, of course, they see that tag. Oh, there's Hawkshead. Oh, let's go get her.
And I agree with you. In fact, that's one of the things the COPWATCH groups talk about nationwide, which when you really think about it, it's real. That's called a victimless crime. You have hurt no one, and they're charging you for the crime of a taillight out. And then, of course, they escalate it from there. Then they're like, well, we got to search your car. We got to do this. We got to do that. You know what I mean?
Oh, they would never even try to search my car. No, they won't mess with me. They will never mess with me.
Right.
Listen, I have too many guys. One thing I do have is I have too many guys that I worked with at the prison that now work for the sheriff's department.
Right.
They don't mess with me. So I do have friends. So they won't mess with me. They'll mess with her.
Right.
But not me. So.
That is a good thing. I have to unfortunately admit the sheriff that committed perjury in court and got my stalker off the charges, Ken Hill. Did you work with him at the jail?
Ken Hill.
Old guy, tall, fat. He's also a preacher in Fort Myers.
No, Hill I worked with he works with Northport PD. He's a younger guy.
Well, this one's older, and yeah, he did total perjury, totally lied his ass off in court, and Bill PRUMMELL.
You had a stalker?
Yes, we had a bad neighbor that went really bad. Yeah, they turned into a stalker. It was not cool. Well, actually, here's another reality check. Since I've been helping out with this group, you have no idea how many times we've been threatened. Oh my God! Just because we're trying to stop corruption and wake people up to the rights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just telling Sarah, we got 17 cameras on the house because actually now more than we fear this crazy neighbor, we fear the corrupt cops. The cops drove by 240 times in 1 year.
Wow.
And he doesn't live here. That is crazy. I've had threats on leoaffairs.com forums for the sheriffs, 4 of them. I've screen grabbed them all. I've made videos of them all. I've sent it to the sheriff. I sent it to Internal Investigations. I sent it to FDLE. Nothing. It's bad.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really sad. So and then like I say again, we need we need cops, but we don't need this corruption. This is bull crap. This is way out of control.
Jesus. Yes, I do agree.
Yeah.
But like most of the guys that work at the sheriff's department now that I worked with,
right,
they're okay.
Right.
These are, guys that I started working there in '96, and they left and they went in their crossover program, and these guys are all okay.
Right.
And actually, whenever Sarah's been locked up, they treat her well because they know she's my daughter. So I hate to say she's gotten preferential treatment, but she really has.
Right.
And she doesn't treat them terribly. I mean, she's respectful when she's in there, and
right.
They always ask her, "Oh, how's your mom doing?"
Right.
She treats them with respect.
Right.
So it's a two-way street.
That is true. But a lot of times too, they don't respect us yet too. And then also too, remember too, a good cop should turn in a bad cop, and that's unfortunately not happening, enough. Because like I said, I knew a cop. My wife's best friend is married to a cop. He knew everything that I'm telling you about, and he did nothing. He said, I can't do anything. Couldn't believe it, man. So anyways, I don't know if she told you this or not, and I can cut your part out if you want, because I don't think you said anything bad. She wanted to do an interview because a lot of people are finally coming forward and talking about their stories of different things that have happened here. So this is recorded. Is that all right if I put that on the Charlotte County Facebook page? Is this story about dealing with stuff here?
Oh, no, that's fine, you know, because what happened here I thought was totally unnecessary.
Absolutely.
And, you know, when you keep asking, where's the warrant? I expect when you say you have a search warrant, well, where is it?
Right.
And for an hour and a half to pass before I can finally produce it, and you've scared the living bejesus out of my grandson.
Right.
And then finally, after an hour and a half, in the blistering August heat, whatever day it was.
Hey, by the way, do you think they cheated and got it after they did the bust?
Well, they didn't really come up with anything, so it did look a little suspicious. I mean, the whole thing was a joke when it really came down to the end of it. I mean, they're coming in here with money counters and everything else.
Oh,
and they didn't walk
God.
out with anything. Oh, yeah. They thought they were going to get out of here with thousands of dollars. Well, gee, I wish they'd have found it and split it with me because I didn't have a red cent. I'm on disability.
Right. Well, I don't know if Sarah told you that. As you know, they try to threaten the person into being a narc for them. Because I've personally heard Sheriff Bill PRUMMELL in the debates talking about they are bragging about the forfeitures and seizures that they're doing. It's literally making the sheriffs and the cops corrupt because they're trying to figure out any way they can to
well, they're trying to get their little CIs to do their work for them.
Yes.
Because they're lazy.
Yes. Well, and they're trying to take your cash. They're trying to take your house. They're trying to take your car.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really sad. Rick Scott actually did one good thing. He actually did sign a bill trying to help stop them from doing that because they were doing that before even charged. They were taking it just under suspicion.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I thank you for your time, and I'm sorry to hear about what you guys been through. Unfortunately, I have to say you guys aren't the only ones. We've been getting a lot of stories over the years.
Oh, I know we're not. I know.
So that's why I do what we do, just let people know, hey, there is somebody out here trying to, help, trying to make it right. And, because we're supposed to be free, man. This does not feel free.
Oh, I know. Well, listen, I'm like the little narc at the doctor's office.
Right.
And when I see suspicious things going on at the pain management office, because I'm not going to go, I have a really good doctor.
Right.
I mean, he has a PhD in pharmacology. Then he went to med school. And then he got board certified in radiology. And then he got board certified in pain management. I mean, I'm really picky about my doctors.
Right.
Especially when it comes to this pain management stuff. And I really wanted somebody good. And he is an excellent doctor. And I first met him, he was working at a pain clinic while he had he still does have a full-time radiology practice.
Right.
But he was thinking about opening up a pain management clinic, so he was working at one here in town, and that's where I first met him. And then he opened one in Cape Coral, which was that was such an awful drive, so I was still going to the one up here. And then he called me and he said, hey, listen, I've got one open in Cape Coral, but I am opening one in Port Charlotte. And I said, well, good. I will drive to see you in Cape Coral because I really like you. You're a good doctor. But I got out of my car one day at the little one over here on over by Winn-Dixie.
Right.
And there was a cup of urine sitting on the ground. And whenever something, I'd go outside to have a cigarette, and I'd hear people talking out there. I'll swap you this and that. And I'd go back in and tell the office manager, and I'd say, listen, so-and-so, or this girl with the red shirt or whatever, I said, they're out there let's make a drug deal. And they would discharge them. I'm not going to an office that does that kind of thing, okay?
Right.
Look, I won't handle it. I don't deal with it. They didn't want to deal with it. So when I saw something going on, I would go back inside and I'd say, can I see Laura, please? She was the office manager. And we'd go in the back and I'd say, listen, so-and-so, short blonde hair, red shirt, she's talking with the guy with whatever he was wearing, and they're doing, let's make a drug deal out there. And I would tell her what the conversation was about.
Right.
She's like, thank you. And whenever I went in for an appointment, I could not stand to sit and listen to these people in their conversations. It would drive me nuts because, I worked with mentally ill people, and I worked for the Department of Corrections. I do not want to sit and listen to this crap. They would take me into the back and put me in an office that wasn't being used so I could just sit back there by myself while I was waiting for my appointment.
Right.
And then finally, Dr. Ross opened his office up here. And I do the same thing up there.
Right.
If I hear these people, let's make a drug deal, I go in there and say, hey, Doc, you got a problem.
Wow.
And he discharges them.
Right.
In fact, I'm going to go to work for him pretty soon. I'm going to start doing his nursing assessments on his new patients.
Very good.
So I'm not with that kind of program.
Right.
Go buy your drugs on the street if that's how you want to be.
There you go.
You're not going to do the kind of crap where I'm being seen.
Well, and not only that, like you said, it's jeopardizing the doctor too also, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's gotten rid of a lot of patients.
Right.
Yeah. And, I mean, they go through a big review process before they even accept somebody, but every once in a while one will slip through. But if I'm in there and I hear something, they don't get past me.
There you go. Oh, I agree. I don't know if you've heard, more people die from prescription drugs than all the illegal drugs.
Of course.
Yeah, it's sad. People don't understand that, realize that. In fact, actually, the prescription drugs on the street are worth more than the illegal drugs now.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, anyways, I if that's all, I think we're good. We got an hour and 12 worth of audio, just talking about, things that are going on here and how it needs to change. And if you're all set, I'm all set.
Great.
All right, yeah,
Okay.
just keep this in mind. There is somebody out here trying to fight, trying to make it right. And if you hear of any other stories, let Sarah know. Sarah knows the websites. They can go and contact us, and they can do an interview. They can do write a story, whatever. Just more people got to start talking about that. Like you said, that Jude has raided your house with how many people? That's insane. That's stupid.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. It was nice to speak with you.
And good to speak to you, too. You guys have a good night, okay?
Okay. You too. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.